Everybody, today we're going to be looking at using decimals. So we're going to be adding, subtracting, multiplying and dividing them. The booklet that's on Show My Homework matches the examples that are on here, so you might want to print that out and work along with me. If not, a pen and paper will be fine. I'll pause for a minute here to give you a chance to pause the video and get any equipment you might need, and then we'll get started. So first, we're going to look at adding decimals. So when we're adding decimals, we need to use the column method and we need to line those decimal points up. So we've used the column method here, so I've written them underneath one another and I've lined my decimal points up so all of my columns line up as well. When adding decimals, I start from the right-hand side, so I'm going to do 4 plus 3, which is 7. And then I'll line the decimal point up in the answer as well. And then I'm going to move into the next column and I'm going to do 2 plus 3, which is 5. There's nothing else. There's no other column. So 2.4 plus 3.3 is 5.7. I'm then going to have a look at another one. And I'm going to do 12.7 plus 2.8. So again, I'm going to write them in a column and line my decimal points up, and then I'm going to add them together. So I'm going to start from the right-hand side, and 7 plus 8 is 15. So my 5 goes here, and my 1 goes over into my next column, because you can only have one digit per column. So now when I add this column up, I need to make sure I do 2 plus 2 plus the 1, and I don't forget about it. So 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And then the next column, 1 plus nothing is 1. There's a couple here for you to have a go at, so pause the video and I'll give you the answers in a few minutes. So the answers. The first one is 12.21 and the second one is 262.191. Well done if you got both of those correct. If not, you might want to go back and check your answers. Now we're going to look at subtracting decimals. So it's a very similar process as adding decimals. We're going to use a column and we're going to line those decimal points up. So 7.4 take away 3.3. I've lined the decimal points up and they're in a column. So now I'm going to do 4 take away 3. 4 take away 3 is 1. And then 7 take away 3 is 4. So 7.4 take away 3.3 is 4.1. Example number 2, I'm going to look at doing 15.7 take away 2.8. So the same process here. I'm going to write them in a column and I'm going to line my decimal points up. So 7 take away 8 is the first thing I'm going to do. 7 take away 8. I can't do it because that 8 is too big. So I'm going to look into the next column here and borrow 1 from that 5. So I've borrowed 1. So the 5 becomes a 4 and the 1 that I've borrowed goes into the next column. So 17 take away 8. 17 take away 8 is 9. And then I line my decimal points up and move into the next column. So 4 take away 2 is 2. And then 1 take away nothing is 1. So 15.7 take away 2.8 is 12.9. There are a couple here for you to have a go at. So pause the video and have a go and I'll give you the answers in a second. So here are the answers. First question, the answer is 1.37 and the second one is 28.84. Well done if you got both of those correct. If you didn't, you might want to go back and check your answers. We're now going to look at multiplying decimals. So there are 3 things we need to do here. And step number 1 is ignore the decimal points. So we're going to ignore those decimal points and then we're going to multiply as normal. I'm going to use column method. You can use grid. It doesn't matter what method you use, whatever method you feel most confident with. So now I'm going to do 3 times 4, and 3 times 4 is 12. So my 2's here and my 1 is going to go into the next column. And then I'm going to do 3 times 2, which is 6. Add on my 1, 7. And my third step, I'm going to count how many numbers, how many digits are after the decimal point in the original question, and that is how many there are going to be in the answer. So if I look up here, there's 1 digit in total after the decimal point. There's none in this number, and there's 1 here. So that means there's going to be 1 in the answer. So 2.4 times 3 is 7.2. I've got 1 digit after the decimal point in the answer. Example number 2 is 12.7 times 5.2. So again, I'm going to ignore the decimal points and I'm going to do 127 times 52. And I'm going to multiply it as normal. So I'm going to use the column method here. So I'm going to start by doing 50 times 127. So because I'm doing 50 times 127, I'm going to pop a 0 down. Then I'm going to do 5 times 7, which is 35. So my 5's there and my 3 from my 30 is in the next column. Then I'm going to do 5 times 2, which is 10, and then add on the 3, 13. And then 5 times 1, which is 5, and add on the 1, 6. So I've done 127 times 50. Now I'm going to do 127 times the 2. So 2 times 7 is 14. So I've got my 4 and my 1 in the next column. And then 2 times 2, 4, add 1, 5. And then 2 times 1 is 2. So now what's left for me to do is add those two together. So again, start from the right, 0 add 4, which is 4. 5 add 5, which is 10. So I'll put my 0 here and my 1 in the next column over. And then I'm going to do 3 adds 2 add 1, which is 6. And then I'm going to do 6 add nothing. So now I've done the calculation, and now I need to do step 3, count how many digits are after the decimal point in the question. This is how many there are in the answer. So here I've got 1 digit here and 1 here. So that's 2 in total. So I need to make sure I've got 2 digits after the decimal point in the answer. So 12.7 times 5.2 is 66.04. There are a couple of questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video here, have a go, and then I'll give you the answers. So the answers. First one is 8.064 and the second one is 14.88. Well done if you got both of those correct. If not, just go back and have a double check. Now we're going to look at dividing decimals. So we're going to be looking at dividing by a whole number. So when we're dividing, we can use a bus stop, and we can use that here as well. So I'm going to do 2.4 divided by 3. So how many 3's go into 2? 0. I've lined my decimal points up, and there's 2 left over because I haven't used any of that. And then how many 3's go into 24? So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. So that's 8. So 2.4 divided by 3 is 0.8. Then I'm going to have a look at another one. This is a bit trickier because we're dividing by 16. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up the same as I have done before, and I'm going to do 2.88 divided by 16. I'm also going to write my 16 times table down to help me out a bit. So 16, 32, 48, 64, 80, 96, 112, 128, 144, and 160. To get these, you're just going to add 16 on each time. And then I'm going to look at the question. 16s into 2. Nothing. And because I haven't used any of the 2, there's 2 left over. 16s into 28. So if I look here, 16, so that's once. If I go any further, that's too big. So 16s into 28 fit once. And there's 12 left over because from 16 to 28, there's 12. So now it's 16s into 128. So I'm going to count down till I get to 128. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 16s into 128 go 8 times. So 2.88 divided by 16 is 0.18. There are a couple here for you to have a go at, so pause the video and I'll give you the answers in a few seconds. Just don't forget that you're going to write your bus stop, 14.4 divided by 6. You might want to write your 6 times table out to help you. And then 5.52 divided by 12. You might want to write your 12 times table out to help you here. So the answers. 14.4 divided by 6 is 2.4. And 5.52 divided by 12 is 0.46. Well done if you got both of those correct. If not, go back and have a little check. We're now going to have a look at a couple of worded examples. So Sally works for 4 hours and she gets paid £6.50 per hour. How much does she get paid in total? So she works for 4 hours. So every hour she gets paid £6.50. So in 4 hours, she's going to get £6.50 multiplied by 4. So now we've set it up like this. We know it's a multiplying decimals question. So we're going to think back to what we've just done. So step 1, ignore the decimals. So I'm going to do 650 times 4. So I'm going to work this out. And I'm going to do 4 times 0, which is 0. 4 times 5, which is 20. My 0 here, and I carry my 2 over. And then 4 times 6, which is 24. Add on my 2, 26. And then I put the decimal point back in. The reason I've put it here is in the original question, there are 2 digits after the decimal point. So that means in the answer, 2 digits after the decimal point. So my decimal point needs to go after the 6. Example number 2 for the worded questions. James buys a pencil case, 2 pens and a ruler. The prices are below. How much do these cost him in total? So we've got a pencil case is £2.99. A pen is £0.49 and a ruler is 25 pence. So we need to be careful here because this is in pence and these are in pounds. So when we're adding them together, because we want to add the total cost, we're going to convert this one into pounds. So we've got £2.99 plus 1 pen at 0.49 plus another pen at 0.49 plus a ruler, 25 pence, is 0.25. So adding, we start from the right hand side, don't forget. 9 plus 9 is 18, plus 9 is 27, plus 5 is 32. Then I'm going to move over into the next column. 9 plus 4 is 13, plus 4 is 17, plus 2 is 19, and then don't forget about this 3 here. So 19 plus 3 is 22. And then I'm going to move into the next column and I'm going to do 2 plus 0, which is 2, plus 0, which is 2, plus 0, which is 2. And then I'm going to add on that other 2 there, which is 4. So James spends £4.22 in total on a pencil case, 2 pens and a ruler. There's a couple of helpful hints here. So adding and subtracting decimals, make sure you line your decimal points up when you write them in the column. When you're multiplying decimals, ignore the decimal point, multiply them as normal and put the decimal point in at the end. And dividing decimals, make sure that you're dividing by a whole number, which you will be, and then divide as normal, lining up the decimal points as you go. I hope this is helpful and helps you with the work for this week. If not, please get in touch with me and I'll support you in any way I can.